The bordbia quality mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards.
The mustard seed overlooks the village of Ballingarry in County Limerick, a member of Ireland's Blue Book and renowned for its food and its hospitality. It's won lots of awards, and the kitchen garden and orchard provide many of its fruit and vegetables for the restaurant. The owner is John Edward Choice.
Dan Milan established the mustard seed in a dare on the cottage on the main street in 1986 with a fine dining restaurant, which then moved here in 1996 to have a country house with bedrooms, gardens, kitchen garden, and 12 as it was at the time, and now 18 themed rooms, all different.
And what was the building here before that?
First of all, it was a low house, a lodge. I think it belonged to Lord Kerry, which was said to be Daniel O'Connell's stopping place on his way to Derrynane. And then after that, in 1884, it was built as this house by the parish priest with money left over from the church to upset the rector of crossing the trees and have a bigger house or a greater house. And it immediately was sold on to the convent for £1, so it spent most of its life being a convent of mercy for over 100 years. The nuns ran a primary school here then, so most people in Ballingarry would have been to the mustard seed before there ever was a mustard seed.
And the gardens are spectacular. It's so well kept.
But the nuns had nice gardens as well, I believe, and then the mustard seed gardens were set literally before the house was opened at all or ready at all. The house was still in nearly rack and ruin while that was all being done.
It's a wonderful success, and I'm looking forward to going into the kitchen and cooking. Great to see you again, John.
Thank you. Thank
you. Angel, I've enjoyed many lovely meals here. So what are you going to cook for me today?
Today we're doing a local beef. We'll start with a scallion puree, which is shallot, garlic, and our scallions, which are up here.
And the shallots are peeled, so they're the banana shallots. So
banana shallots, nice and sweet.
So would this be a dish on your menu?
That is, a lot of people around the area are beef farmers, and they do like their beef.
Does that go in there?
It does, yeah.
Do you want some of the spring onion?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll chop a little garlic.
Lovely.
We'll sweat them off with a little bit of butter.
Lovely.
Now with butter, a little bit of Malden sea salt, and a pinch of black pepper. Put it on the stove on a low heat, put a lid on it, and that will keep the moisture from the onions back into the pot. And this will preserve absolutely all the flavours. The green parts I'll chop, and we're going to blanch them. We have a boiling over there.
Here?
If you don't mind putting the scallions inside the pot, we'll give them about 20 seconds. Once they're blanched and chilled, we'll join them together with the shallots and the garlic. We'll blend them in the Thermomix and they'll make a nice fine puree. This is the one I made earlier. This is how it should look like. Next thing we're gonna do is the polenta cakes. Our milk has just about turning into a boiling point. So what I'll do, I'll slowly start sieving in the polenta and at the same time whisking it. The Italian mamas would actually do it over a bain-marie and I'll cook it all day long.
It's a labour of love, isn't it, in Italy?
That's it. They have all the time in the world for some reason. The secret of beef is actually leave it out of the fridge for a while to kind of get into a room temperature and slightly massage it. This is a Malden sea salt. Put it on every side. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of oil. It doesn't need much. Put it with a fat side on first while the pan is still not hot enough.
Fat side down.
Fat side down.
Rendering out that.
We need to flip the beef on each side. You have a nice golden brown colour on the fat side. We need to achieve the same thing on each side. So we'll let that do its business for a while and we focus again on our polenta. It requires a constant attention. Now this is our beef.
Beautiful, look at
sealed evenly on every side.
Yeah.
We'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. Now this is about 25-35 minutes. Polenta should be ready. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper.
Lovely.
Then before we put the cheese and the butter into the polenta, we have to stop the cooking process. Put a bit of butter. That is a cheese from Little Milk Company. This is a co-op of 11 farmers. They're giving their milk to different cheesemakers here in Ireland. They produce different cheeses for them. They have a variety of mature cheddars, blue cheeses. That's nice.
Lovely. Beautiful.
Seal it on this side as well.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you need to fully incorporate the butter and the cheese.
You just kind of basting that over.
The nutty flavour coming out of the brown butter. What are we going to do now is let it in the oven for about 7 minutes.
What temperature have your oven preheated?
The oven is preheated on 190 degrees.
Okay.
Now our polenta is ready to be molded. I've made a proportion of polenta 1:8 liquid towards polenta, and that will make it nice fine cubes.
So you want this actually to set, don't you?
I want this one to set nice and leveled. Blast chill it now for about half an hour. I'll put this one in the fridge. So these are the ones that I cut earlier. Put a little bit more polenta on top of them.
Give them a nice crust, is it?
Nice crusty. Now I put this one on the grill to give it a nice bit of colour. I'll need a small tray. Stop the cooking and let the beef rest.
So we'll just give that a few minutes now, is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
We need to char grill our scallions. We'll put a little bit of oil on them. We have them seasoned. Next thing, they have to go on the char grill. That will scorch them, burn them a little bit, but it will bring all the flavors out. Meanwhile, we can start plating up. This one is the leek puree. Then I use my palette knife and do a little trick. Then is our grilled polenta, nice and firm, golden brown color. Our beef is ready as well. Cut it in the middle. I put one color up and the glazed side. This way the customers can see how the beef is
Lovely.
cooked. Quinoa that we made earlier?
Yes.
Sprinkle around the polenta. Our scallions are nice and ready. They're good to go on the plate.
They look lovely, don't they? So what are you putting into the pan?
A ladle of jus. And now I reduce it down to the thickness I want to. That will deglaze the pan and collect all the flavor that's stuck on the pan. And we'll put it on top of the beef. A little bit of leek ash. And the last touch is to put in some edible flowers that I picked this morning from our garden. These are nasturtium flowers, different colors, and mustard shoots. These have a lovely peppery taste and really go well with the dish we have here.
I can't wait to taste it. So I'm going to start off with the beef. The beef is delicious, beautifully cooked. I love the softness of the polenta. Puree works really well. Angel, thank you
very much
for having me in your kitchen and wish you continued success. So many of us love Viennetta, and I'm going to show you my homemade version, which is layers of lovely crisp dark chocolate and a vanilla parfait sweetened with some white chocolate. It's really, really delicious, and you can make it ahead, so it's one all the family will enjoy. The first thing we have to do is to do our chocolate, and I've just melted some good quality couverture chocolate, and this is 70% cocoa solids. Look at how lovely and silky that is. So this is some parchment paper, which is a non-stick silicone paper. And then we're going to spread this with a palette knife. Nice thin layer of this. So this is the first stage of the recipe. Put it onto a tray, just makes it easier for you to handle. And you got to let this set. So in a cool place for about maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. In the fridge you can, but don't leave it too long in the fridge, because what happens, it gets a little bit of moisture on the chocolate. So we have this already set here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to cut out the shapes. This is what I'm going to make my Viennetta in. I'm going to get the base of the actual tin and we're going to cut it. So I'll work to the front first of all. So I'm using a small knife. I'm putting a little bit of pressure on it. Lift that off. Good tip for you is using the small little palette knife. Just slide it in, just like that. And there you have one layer of the chocolate. So the palette knife is the key. That one is broken either end. I'm not a bit worried about it. That's the first stage of that. Now we're going to talk about making our parfait. So this is couverture chocolate. This would have probably about 25 to 30% cocoa solids. We're going to warm up our cream. I'm just using some whipping cream. And we're going to make a ganache. So I'm going to give you a couple of different ideas for flavorings which would work really well. With white chocolate, grated orange zest works fantastic. It's beautiful. You could actually put a little bit of vanilla, which I'm going to use now in a moment. So all you're doing is just melting the chocolate into the warm cream, and that's what we call a ganache. Now I'm going to put it into a bowl. If I put this into my parfait mixture now, it's going to make it go really, really runny. So I have one already made, just to show you the consistency. That's it there. Okay, so let's get started doing it's like an ice cream, a parfait. 1 egg white, put 1 teaspoonful and another one, 2 in there, of icing sugar, and then some vanilla pod. Scrape out all those beautiful seeds, or you can use vanilla extract, and then this goes into the egg white. So Key points when you're whipping egg whites: room temperature, clean bowl. You can do it by hand, but I'm going to use this mixer here. So after a couple of minutes, your meringue is done. The vanilla seeds have dispersed through it. We're going to put in our melted white chocolate, and this is the cold one, not the hot one. So I'm going to put this in here. So this will give a nice bit of sweetness and richness to that parfait. So you just fold in your chocolate and then in your cream. So try not to whisk it in. You want to keep as much lightness in there. You just combine everything. So orange zest, you could put even a little bit of cinnamon if you wanted it. So experiment with different flavors. So this is what I'm going to shape the Viennetta in. This is a 1 pound loaf tin. And what I've done, just a little bit of cold water, just a little drizzle, and that actually helps the cling film stick. I have 2 layers of cling film here. Pour the first layer of this, and then spread it to the edge. So that's our first layer of our parfait. So what I like to do is just bang it. And then what we have is the chocolate. Place it in, push it in, right to the edges. That's it done. Simple as that. And then get your extra cling film, cover it like this. Press it down. This dessert needs to be frozen overnight. And just before you serve it, take it out of the freezer and just let it sit for about 10 minutes. So you unwrap the cling film and then it should just pop out. Perfect. And then you can see all the lovely layers. Look at that. You can see the layers of chocolate, you have the parfait. Yum. So we're going to serve this up. So I'll just remove the very end slice. Very happy with that. So 2 nice thick slices of this. And as this gets softer, it's actually nicer to eat. It's never nice straight out of the freezer. So we'll just put one here on the plate. And then another slice. Just have it sitting up. So that's lovely on its own. We're going to put some raspberries. So it gives lovely colour. It's about 6 raspberries and a little bit extra cream. So this is some whipped cream. I've just put a little bit of vanilla pod into it. We're not finished yet. A little bit of chocolate, and we're going to kind of sit this up. So it's giving you a lovely kind of height dimension to the dessert. And I think this would make a very dramatic dessert for a dinner party. And the last element, and this is optional, is a tiny touch, and this is really good quality cocoa powder. Just dust on the plate. And there we go. That's my homemade Viennetta with the lovely whipped cream, some raspberries, and the different textures of chocolate. I hope you enjoy.
The bordbia quality mark, ensuring your food is produced to the highest standards of traceability and care for the environment.